So, Mandy and Elizabeth, are you watching through Google Plus or through YouTube?
I think through Google Plus.
Okay. Thanks, Mandy.
I'm not quite sure. I just loaded up an app on my iPad, so I'm not quite sure.
Okay. But you said you used your Google Plus account, your Boise State Google Plus account,
Yeah.
right? Well, let's see. I'm going to try to one last thing to get Rebecca. So let me.
Well, it looks like Rebecca can like, see the live video, but I don't know if she can interact.
Yeah, so she can see us. I don't know if she can talk. I can try to. I'll try to invite her one more time.
Can you hear me?
Yay!
Yay! Oh my gosh.
Sorry. What
That's
a day.
okay.
Oh my goodness. Welcome.
So I can't see you.
No, that's part of my failure today. My the laptop that had a has the camera on it, as well as my iPad, was not letting me work. So now I'm on a PC and I only have audio. So I'm sorry, no picture
Okay.
for me. We can't see. I can't see you either.
Well, my camera shows that it's on, and I'm not sure why.
Up across the top of the screen, there's the invite, and then there's the mute microphone and the camera button. You can select it or unselect it, and so maybe your camera is muted right now.
Well, it says I keep selecting it on and off, and it doesn't change anything.
Oh, brother.
I'm not sure why.
Okay.
Hang on.
And I don't know. I haven't seen any emails or notifications from Andre for a long time, since we were first trying to get on at, I think he emailed at about 1:10.
Oh, there.
There you are. Hooray.
Hey.
Victory. Exciting. All right. Well, should we go ahead and get started here an hour late? It's kind of unbelievable. So,
Okay.
Great. Yeah, a chance to take a breath after chaos.
Yeah, I'm normally not stressed over technology because it usually, you just keep clicking, something clicks.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm out of ideas. So.
Yes. I was too. I was sure that this would work. I was sure this would work. I've done it with other student groups, and usually it's students who are having this experience, not me. So it was a good painful learning experience for me to be the one with major difficulties today. So have you guys received any texts or emails from Andre?
I'm
No.
looking right now.
Okay.
Yeah, the only thing I received was at like 1 o'clock.
Right, when he said, "Are you guys already there?" or whatever. So, okay. Well, I guess we should just go ahead and get started. Hopefully he can join again. I've sent probably 8 invitations to him in the last half hour at least. So maybe he'll be able to jump on, but I don't want to delay you all any longer. I just wanted to first tell you that I love your topic. I think it's a really great topic and will be a lot of fun for you to work on. It's always good to have a topic that people are engaged and interested in to sustain you over the next, 5 weeks till Thanksgiving when you submit the recommendation report. So I really like that. I'm going to just touch on a primary concern that I see in your proposal writing worksheet, and that is that you're a little ahead of yourself with your purpose statement. The purpose statement should, at this point, be about proposing to conduct research. And right now, your purpose statement is about proposing to make a change, right? So I don't know if you all had a chance to listen to my week 8 audio message that I shared on the week 8 update. On that audio message, I talk about students getting really passionate and excited about their topic idea and getting ahead of themselves, and that's kind of where you guys are. In that video message, I used the example that students get all excited and they write the purpose of their proposal is to build a bridge, right? When instead this is a research proposal, so the purpose statement in that proposal would be, the purpose of our proposal is to research the feasibility of building a bridge. So do you all get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And how that's different? And so, your super cool purpose, the purpose of this proposal is to help create awareness and bring about change with regards to the dietary options for students attending Boise State that have cultural differences and so on. That's awesome stuff. I just need you to pedal back from that and instead write a research proposal, right? So
can I ask a question?
of course.
Yeah. Okay, so I did the purpose part. So yeah, I hear what you're saying, and
Yeah.
I got really excited. So really, what we want to say is it's more like the purpose of our proposal is to research the feasibility of determining the dietary needs of Boise State students.
Yeah, something on that line would be much much better. It actually sounds more like you are proposing to look at the feasibility of providing or increasing the diversity of food provided on campus.
Mm-hmm.
Is
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't want to put
Right.
words in your mouth, but reading through your audience scenario and the topic sections as well. Your purpose statement just needs to be about researching that idea. And hand in hand with that, because you are researching this idea, it is a good idea to remember to maintain some objectivity. So that is, you're going to propose to do this research, and you're going to map out in 4, 5, 6, 7 steps exactly how you would execute the research into whether it's feasible to increase the diversity in food offerings at Boise State. But by the time, so that's what you would put in your proposal, the next assignment. Then between your proposal and your report, you're going to actually execute this research. And, in the body of your report, you're going to describe how you do the research in the methods section, what results you gathered when you did that research. Then you're going to write some conclusions and some recommendations. And I'm telling you this because you may get to all the way to those conclusions and recommendations and find that it's not feasible to increase the diversity of food options at Boise State at this time. So just kind of conducting your research from an objective perspective that's going to allow you to really find and be open to the data that you collect. Does that also make sense? I see Mandy nodding, and Elizabeth, does that sound good to you?
It does. It makes sense.
Okay, so awesome. So I'm not at all trying to kill your awesome idea, because I love it. And I think it will be a lot of fun for you to work on, but I want you to just make sure you stay in research mode. That's kind of one of the ways that I say that to my students. Stay in research mode.
Good.
So the good news is that you have probably done, looking at your proposal writing worksheet. It's not quite as in-depth or complete as I might hope it would be, but it's pretty darn good. And looking at it, I think that you have done probably 70 or between 70 and 80% of all the thinking that you need to do to write your next assignment, the proposal assignment. And the other good news is that I think you've probably done almost half of the writing that you need to do for the proposal. So that's cool. So to talk about writing the proposal and for me to kind of walk you through how you're going to do it, if you want to grab your textbook and go to page 5. Let's see, it's way, oh my goodness. So it's in chapter 16, page 457 is where I'd like you to look with me. And let's see, I just got an email. I wonder if that's from Andre. Nope. Okay. So back to you guys. So on page 457, you can see this is the beginning of the sample proposal. And I've also posted, and I think I just misspoke, I think the time when I was talking about people getting ahead on their topics, that was actually in the audio on your week 7 update. The week 8 update that I posted this week has a video that walks you through taking the information from your proposal writing worksheet and putting it into your proposal. And I'm just going to go over that again right now with you, but I mentioned the proposal sample that's in that audio it's, pardon me, I keep calling it audio, in that video, because
for week 8 or for week 7?
in week 8,
Okay.
that video has relatively good scans or screenshots of a second sample proposal. And I like that sample proposal better than the one in your current textbook, because that sample proposal actually has a budget in it, and this one that's in your current textbook does not, which is of concern. Plus, I just find the scenario for this sample proposal to be a little weird, a little funky, and it kind of confuses students a lot when you try to model your proposal on this sample. You can get into some trouble. So I would just pause that video on the week update and look at that second sample proposal to just inform your group how your I think it's better. It's a better one to model your report on, your proposal on. Okay.
Okay.
So anyway, back to page 457, you can see that these students have decided to do a memo report. So it's it's less formal than a formal report. If you all would prefer to do a formal report, that's great with me. Totally up to you. But just do one or the other. You can keep it simple and use the memo heading and the topping the traditional memo formatting at the top. All of that is great. But if you decide to do a formal report, then it needs to look like a formal report, and it wouldn't have any memo headings. It would have a title page, table of contents, etc. So whichever way you go, just do one or the other. Don't mix the two formats up or into each other. So the very first item that you can see there on page 457 is the purpose statement, and we've already talked about how you all need to revise it to being a statement wherein you propose to research your topic. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
The very next section, and I don't know how closely you've looked at this, but and for some of us, where it's like, whoa, weird, why is there a summary on page 1? Well, it is a weird kind of quirky thing about proposals that we provide this summary on page 1, and it functions as a mini proposal that people that are really busy read when they aren't able to read all the proposals. So let's say that a group, sends out their request for proposal, their RFP. Yesterday, they got 150 proposals, right? They would just look at these summaries for each of them, and through those 150, they'd put 130 of them in the no thank you pile, probably, from just reading the summary. And from just reading the summary, they'd probably put the let's look at the other 20 into that pile. So you need to make sure that your summary is a kick-butt summary. It needs to be really good. But it can't be really good until you've written everything else. So we're going to skip over it and come back to it in a few minutes. If you just want to turn the page to page 458 and 459 in your textbook, you can see the introduction section. You can see that you restate the purpose statement there, essentially. Then you describe the problem or the current situation, and you talk about typically you talk about a little pre-research that justifies the need to be given permission to do the research. So the introduction provides all that context, background information, and justifies doing the research. So where in your proposal writing worksheet have you already done some of that type of writing?
I think we started it in the purpose by accident.
Yeah, you did. Good catch. You definitely did. That's great. And you would just need to revise it to language that is objective, right, and open to making those changes, or that's open to researching whether these changes are needed. Even in your audience scenario, there's good sort of background information there, right? A little bit, not a ton. In your topic statement, your argument map, your, are areas where you have already done some good thinking and writing that will help you write this introduction, right? So that context, that background, and your argument for why you should get permission to do the research. Okay? Any questions about what goes into the introduction?
No.
It's kind of hard to write well, so take a few stabs at it, and be sure to edit it carefully so that you make sure that all of those elements are there. Look carefully at the introduction section in the sample proposal that's part of the video that I've posted for you as well, because that will help you write a strong introduction. And the last thing that I want to call your attention to is on page 459, at the top, the very last sentence there. The following sections of this memo include the proposed task, the schedule, or experience. That's an advanced organizer sentence, and your introduction also needs to close with one of those sentences. Okay? So then from page 459 all the way to the top of page 462, you can see that the students here have provided they've called this section the proposed tasks. And this is an opportunity for me to just let you know that you don't have to use the exact headings that you see in this memo report. Use headings that are meaningful to your team. You can call it the proposed research plan or the proposed research program or just research task, whatever feels right for you. But this is where you're going to list out each of your research tasks. You're going to name them and tell us how you would do each of them. And this is where you can also add in any pre-research that you've done. On your proposal writing worksheet, this didn't get really expanded into to the level that it needed to on the worksheet. Ideally, there would have been, 4 clear sentences or four clear questions, which you do have a list of good questions. But under each of those questions in the proposal writing worksheet, I like to see that you have identified sources or ways that you would get an answer for each of those 4 questions. For example, we will do a survey, we will interview, we will do this secondary research, etc. But you do have good questions and information about how you're going to execute both the primary and secondary research. Thinking about what your research, you just need to expand it and expand on it, both, so that it looks more similar to the research task that you see in this sample proposal and in the sample proposal in the video. You know, and then a final task almost always is the one that you see at the bottom of page 461 in your text. Analyze our data and prepare a recommendation report. That will probably be your final task as well. So any questions about that?
No.
Okay. You guys, the next section that you can see at the top of page 462 is the schedule. So you will need to have a schedule that you'll include at the end of your research task section. Then the next section you can see on page 462 is the qualifications and experience section. The students in the textbook sample used a bulleted list, and that works great. The only caution I have for you is to make sure that you have an introductory phrase, sentence, or paragraph that tells us what you're describing in that bulleted list. So instead of just having the bulleted list underneath the word experience or qualifications and experience, whatever you guys are going to call that section, make sure that you have a phrase that introduces that bulleted list. Any questions about the qualifications and experience section? No?
No.
Okay. That one is pretty turnkey. The only kind of problem I've seen students have with that is that they haven't mentioned anything about about their experience as researchers. And that's a pretty important thing to mention since you're asking to get permission, time, and money to do research. So it would be good to try to highlight research projects that you've done, that you've each done. In the proposal writing worksheet, the last section that you added was the budget, and somebody already has a pretty darn good start on a table for your proposal. You can see that the sample proposal in the text doesn't have one. I've already talked about that. You'll need to just make sure you don't forget to put your budget into your assignment 5. Under the budget, you've got a nice phrase that would introduce it. To complete the table that you've provided, you would need to have a column heading above your names. You would need to add a table number and a title, because every table needs that. And then it would also be good for you to think about any additional costs that might be involved with conducting your research. For example, if you are going to do surveys, the costs of doing a survey, making copies, or buying a computer program, software to conduct the survey, that kind of thing, and so on. You just need to make sure that your budget shows me that you have thoughtfully considered all of the actual costs of doing the research. So any questions on the budget?
You talked about the table. I was just kind of curious, what were you're looking for again? I was writing it down and I don't think I got it all.
Okay, so you can look in the graphics chapter 12, but for a good table, you need to have the table number and a title, and then you always refer to that table number in the phrase above it. Below, you will find in table number 1 our estimated budget for conducting the research, something like that, right? So you have the reference in your text. You have the table number and title. You have a list of all of the costs in the draft table that you sent in your worksheet. The only thing that's been identified so far is the cost for labor. And you guys work really cheap, only $5 an hour. That's crazy. But you need to, the table looks quite good with the exception of the fact that there isn't a column heading on the first column.
Okay.
So I think that's all the things I mentioned. But where is it? I've used this textbook for too long. Yeah, the notes on creating effective tables are in your textbook on pages 321 to 323. So that's a good reference page to go to. And then, whoops, we lost Rebecca, I guess. Uh-oh. If you'll flip back to page 457, let's talk about the summary. So there, you can see that the introduction, once you've written all the rest of the proposal and it's all the other sections of the proposal and it's essentially done to a point where you all are ready to just do final copy editing, tiny stuff left to it, then you're ready to write this summary. You can see that the first couple of paragraphs are essentially a summary of the introduction section of the proposal. The fourth paragraph there is where the third and fourth paragraph, pardon me, are where they talk about how they would conduct the research. And then the fifth paragraph, the bottom paragraph that you can see on the page, is where they talk about, they mention their budget amount, and they talk about their qualifications and experience. And then finally, the schedule is mentioned. Kind of the conclusion of the summary is at the top of page 458, where they say that, when they would deliver it. Right, so that's the reference to the schedule. So one key thing that I'll add as I wrap up is just that it's really important that, and it's sometimes hard to do when you have 4 people writing a single report, we want to make sure that the purpose statement, or what you say you're proposing to do, to research, is essentially the same in the purpose statement, in the summary when you mention it, and in the introduction when you mention it. All right. So any questions for me? I just went through a lot really pretty quickly.
I don't have any more.
Okay.
I don't have any questions either.
Okay. I'm not sure what happened to Rebecca. I see that she's emailing us. Oh, she says she can see and hear. So, hi, Rebecca. Glad you're with us. Sorry we can't hear you. Rebecca, if you have any questions, go ahead and shoot me an email, and I'll try to answer those. But it sounds like Mandy and Elizabeth feel like we're good. It's possible that this I'm hoping that I will be able to have saved this so that possibly Andre can look at this or look and listen to our broadcast. I'm not sure what happened, but anyway.
I've been taking notes. I'll send out an email to the group afterwards, kind of highlighting everything too.
Cool. Okay. Rebecca just emailed that she does not have any questions. So, again, I'm just really excited about your topic. I think you guys it will be very interesting for you to do this. If you have any questions as you get going or continue to work, just let me know. And once again, my sincere apologies for the crazy technology challenges that we ran into today. But I thank you for doing this. Just for as a warning, we will be doing this again one more time this term. It'll be shortly before your recommendation report is due. So that will be a really good time to just make sure you've dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's on that. So that's the assignment that is worth the most points in this class. So I really want to support you to try and help you do your very best as a group on that. So we'll do this one more time, and if we do Google Hangouts then, hopefully it will be about 9 times smoother than this. I'm going to practice with it some more and try to figure out what happened on my iPad and my laptop and troubleshoot my problems. And another point that I just wanted to call your attention to, I did mention it in the week 8 update, but beginning this next Friday, you will be completing and submitting progress reports. And they're pretty straightforward. They're not going to take you a long time, but you're going to report to me who's doing what you've accomplished, and what is yet to be done on both the proposal and the recommendation report. And these are just great techniques to use to manage a project. So hopefully they will help, again, be a tool that will help your group be really successful. So, all right. Well, thanks so much for your patience, everybody.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks.
Goodbye.
Bye.